Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
Court does call the case of People State of Michigan versus Lionel Pickett. Counsel, state your appearances, please.
Andrew Childers appearing on behalf of the people.
Good morning, Your Honor. May it please the Honorable Court, David Burgess on behalf of Lionel Pickett. Standing seated to my right.
All right, your name, sir. Thank you. All right, just date and time set for preliminary examination. Everybody ready to proceed?
That's correct, Your Honor. The people are ready to proceed. Just one preliminary matter. I did just discuss with Mr. Burgess. I expect that at the close of proofs, I may ask the court to add an added count of assault with intent to murder as it relates to Morgan Richardson. It'll be based obviously on the testimony and how it comes out, but I just want to word a heads up on that. And I also believe get there with the appropriate witness for the admission of the medical, the autopsy report from University of Michigan.
Is that a?
Oh, is there already
There's already an AWAM count 2.
Then we're all set.
Okay. All right.
For some reason, I was confused as well.
Okay. No, I was just wondering when I looked at it when you said as to a Morgan Richardson. I just wanted to make sure that party is already.
I knew there was one on there. I thought Mr. Childers just.
All right.
May the people call their first witness?
You may.
People will call Morgan Richardson to the stand.
And please come forward to be sworn.
State and spell your first and last name for the record, please.
Morgan Richardson, RICHARDSON.
May inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ma'am, we're in May of this year, specifically May 20th of 2024. Where were you living at that time? And where is that? In what town? Okay. And can you describe that residence for me?
It's an apartment, a standalone apartment, 2 bedrooms.
Okay. Does it have a exterior door or is it in a hallway with doors?
No exterior. You walk straight in your front door of your apartment.
Okay. And if I walk out the front door of your apartment, is there like a sidewalk out there?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a porch and then a sidewalk.
And then a parking lot?
Yes.
Okay. And what's on the opposite side of that parking lot?
Other apartments.
Sit with a similar setup?
Yeah, the
Oh.
same setup.
Okay. And are these all one level, one floor? Okay. Taking you back to May the 20th of this year, 2024, were you with anyone else at your residence at 93 Russell Court on that day?
Yes.
And who was that?
I was with my friend Patrick and my daughter was in the house.
Okay. Do you know an individual by the name of Sean Cameron?
Yes.
How do you know that person?
Close friend, relative.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Close.
Friend.
Got it. Okay.
How long have you known Mr. Cameron?
Since I was a child, 7 years old.
Okay. Was he there at 93 Russell Court on May the 20th?
He was in a parking lot.
Okay. Had you invited him to come over? Does he regularly just stop by? How did that work?
Regularly stop by.
Okay. How did you know he was in the parking lot?
I seen his vehicle
Okay. Where were you when you first saw Mr. Cameron's vehicle?
on my couch.
Okay. Inside your residence? Okay. After you saw his vehicle, did you go out to talk with him or go outside your residence at all?
No,
Okay. And what time of day was it that you first noticed that Mr. Cameron showed up approximately?
I want to say, I don't remember the time, but it was in the evening.
Okay. Was it still daylight?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, did something draw your attention outside to where you saw Mr. Cameron's vehicle?
He asked me to step outside.
Mr. Cameron did?
Yes.
Okay. Did he like call you, text you, or just kind of yell from across the parking lot?
He came in my front door,
Okay. Do you know why he wanted you to come outside?
not at the time.
Okay. So what did you do after he asked you to come outside?
I walked outside
And did you go into the parking lot, or where did you go?
in the parking lot.
And where was Mr. Cameron?
He was standing at the vehicle.
His vehicle?
No,
Okay.
somebody else's vehicle.
Could you see if Mr. Cameron was doing anything or speaking to anyone?
He was speaking
To who?
to the shooter.
Okay. So I'll ask you this now. Is there anyone in the courtroom here today that you recognize from that date and time?
Yes,
Can you tell me an article of clothing that person is wearing?
white and orange.
Your Honor, may the record reflect in-court identification of the defendant?
Without objection, record shall so reflect.
The person you've identified in court here today, the defendant, have you ever seen this individual before?
Yes,
How and where?
as a neighbor, throughout going in and out of my home.
Okay, so you've seen the defendant in this apartment complex area before?
Yes,
Okay. Do you know if he lived or stayed in one of the apartments near where you were on 93 Russell Court?
yes,
Okay. Back to May the 20th, you said that you saw your friend Sean Cameron speaking with the defendant?
right.
Okay. Where was the defendant when Mr. Cameron was talking to him?
Sitting in the car.
Okay. Could you see the defendant sitting in the car?
Yes,
Was the defendant's car facing you, or was it parked and you're looking at the rear of the vehicle?
the car was facing me.
Okay. Could you see if there was anyone else in the car with the defendant?
Yes,
And who was that?
a woman.
Okay. Well, who was in the driver's seat of the vehicle?
I want to say his girlfriend at the time.
Okay. And so the defendant was in the passenger seat? Is that fair to say?
And it was in the driver's seat, and the other person was in the driver's seat. I mean, in the passenger seat.
Okay. So the defendant was actually seated in the driver's seat.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. The conversation that Mr. Cameron was having with the defendant, could you just tell me what was the tone of that conversation?
The tone was him feeling like he was being lied to.
Who's him?
Sean.
Okay. Would it be fair to characterize this as an argument?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I just stop you for a moment? I just want to make sure I got everybody placed right. The parking lot, are there 2 rows of parking or just one?
It's parking based on where the apartment is. So wherever your apartment is, you have a parking spot in front of it, and then across the street, it's the same way.
Same way.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I wondered. So the car that Mr. Cameron's by, is that on your side or on the other side?
It's on the other side.
It's on the other side.
Yes,
So when he was in the parking lot, he's on the other side.
right.
And then when he's standing by the car, you said he was standing by somebody else's car. That's also still on that other side?
Yes,
Okay. The individual that you said is the defendant and this woman in the vehicle. Is that vehicle then parked on that other side?
yes.
And that's the one that he's standing by?
In front of their apartment.
Got it. Okay, go ahead. I'm
And
sorry.
that car had been backed into the parking spot. Is that fair to say? Okay.
That's why. Okay.
The whole time you're observing this conversation, are you still in this kind of front porch area of your apartment?
No, I'm in the middle of the parking lot.
Okay, so you've kind of walked out into the parking lot.
Yes,
Okay. At the time the argument is happening, or what you've testified is it appeared to be an argument between the defendant and Mr. Cameron. Approximately how far away are you from them?
if I did it in steps, I would say I was 8 to 10 steps away from my cousin.
Okay, so from where you are seated right now, maybe to where the store is, something like that, or closer?
Closer,
Okay, how about where this podium is located?
yes.
About that distance from me to you? Okay.
When you say your cousin, you said Mr. Cameron, because you referred to him as a
Yes,
friend, relative, but no, it's okay. But that's who you referred to.
Mr. Sean, yes.
All right, gotcha.
Thank you, Judge. At some point, does this argument escalate, change? Does anything happen?
Yes, it escalates, as Mr. Sean is speaking to the defendant. And then the passenger, which is the girlfriend, got out of her car and proceeded with an escalated, kind of just verbiage to try to figure out what was going on.
Okay, so now the argument is involving both the defendant, this female, and your person you call your cousin, Mr. Cameron.
Correct.
Okay. At some point, does Mr. Cameron walk away from the defendant and this female?
Yes,
Okay, where does he go?
to his vehicle.
And at that point, what if anything happens?
Repeat.
At that point, he's walked to his vehicle. What happens next?
He started walking and I watched him walk and.
Who's he?
I watched Sean walk to
Okay.
his car and then I heard gunshots
Okay.
while I was watching Sean walk to his vehicle.
Where was Sean's vehicle in relation to where the defendant's vehicle was?
Sean's vehicle was parked next to the defendant's or the girlfriend's vehicle.
Okay, so that his vehicle is immediately adjacent to the, okay, was, so the defendant's vehicle is backed in
Yes,
and you're looking at it. So the driver's side of that vehicle, if you're looking at it, would be the right side of that vehicle. Is that fair to say? Okay. Is Mr. Cameron's vehicle backed in or is it front in?
it's front end.
Okay. So the driver's side of Mr. Cameron's vehicle would be adjacent to the driver's side of the defendant's vehicle. Is that correct?
I think that's correct, but what I will say is that the defendant's vehicle was backed in, so when Sean walked to his car, the passenger door is parallel to the other passenger door. So I don't know if that makes sense, but he's
Gotcha.
front-ended, and so he walked to the passenger side of his vehicle.
So he walked around his vehicle.
No.
Okay.
His car is pulled in front end, so he is walking to
Can
his vehicle and the passenger side is the first door.
Okay.
So just so that I'm again clear, as I'm understanding what you're testifying, the vehicle that the defendant is in is parked, it's backed in.
Yes,
And then Mr. Cameron's vehicle, as you're looking at it, is to the left.
yes,
It's on the passenger.
Got
side.
it.
Thank you,
yes,
Judge. So Mr. Cameron walks to the passenger side of his vehicle.
yes.
Yes, okay. And as you're watching Mr. Cameron walk to the passenger side, that's when you heard gunshots? You
Yes,
first heard them?
yes.
Okay. At that point, where is your attention? What are you looking at?
Running
You're running. Okay. Where are you running to?
to my front door.
At any point, do you look to see where the gunshots are coming from?
No,
Okay. So you're running to your front door. So you're now running away from the vehicles and from Mr. Cameron.
yes.
Okay. What's the next thing that you remember happening?
As I'm running, I collapse on, my porch and, I see, the defendant, next to me, on my porch, shooting in my house.
Okay. When you said you collapsed on your porch, is there a reason why you collapsed on your porch?
I was shot in my left leg behind my thigh.
Okay. So as you're running, and it's fair that you were running, is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. As you're running from the parking lot to your front porch, you're shot in the back of your left leg.
Yes,
Okay. And as a result of that, you collapse onto the front porch.
yes.
Okay. Did you ever see Mr. Cameron go into your apartment?
No,
Okay. Um, but you saw the defendant pass you on your front porch.
yes.
Okay. When the defendant passes you, is he carrying anything? Does he have anything in his hands? What's that?
A gun.
What can you describe this gun at all?
I want to say it was black with a wooden bottom
Handle?
handle.
Gotcha.
And did this look like something you'd call a pistol or a handgun? What's that?
I think it's a Draco, an AK-47. I'm not quite sure.
Okay. So this was more like a rifle than it was a
Yes.
handgun. Thank you.
Okay.
So you observed the defendant pass you with this rifle style gun, Draco, whatever we want to call it, and he's shooting into your apartment.
Yes.
At this point, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Judge.
I just trying to visualize this in my head. They're across the parking lot.
Yes.
I think the last time or where you testified, you're in the middle of the park.
Yes.
Mr. Cameron is at some point going toward his passenger side of his vehicle,
Yes.
right? You hear gunshots.
Yes.
Okay. At the point you hear gunshots, where is the defendant and this woman? Are they near you or are they near the car? Where?
At the car, the defendant was standing at the driver's seat of the vehicle facing Sean as he's walking towards the car. So it happened really quick when Sean started walking towards his car. The defendant did something really quick that I did not notice. And then before I knew it, the defendant was shooting towards Sean.
Got it. Okay. At some point, I think as you put it, you said you heard the shots and then you start running towards your house.
Yes.
Okay. You get shot, you collapse on the porch.
Yes.
Now, what's being said, and that's just the part I'm trying to understand, you see the defendant going by your house. Where is the defendant at that point?
The defendant.
Where you see him doing that?
I see the defendant standing, his feet are by my head. His feet. I am collapsed on the ground, trying to pull myself up, and the defendant, I'm looking at the defendant's feet. And I'm looking up at the defendant from the ground.
Okay, okay, I got you. I thought that's what you were telling me, and I just want to make sure. When you go to your porch collapse, the defendant, I guess, would have had to have followed you from the parking lot from the last place you saw him to your house. Would that?
I believe the defendant was chasing Sean towards my house. That's the only way.
And let me.
Okay, because that's where I'm.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where we hadn't. So I'm going to just skip ahead a little bit. Miss Richardson, at some point, I know you said that you didn't see Mr. Cameron go into your apartment, but at some point, did you learn that Mr. Cameron had made it into your apartment?
I did.
Okay. So while this is all happening, you've been shot in the leg, you're hearing gunshots. You didn't see this, but Mr. Cameron makes it past you and he enters your apartment.
I don't know how he went past me. We weren't running in the same direction.
Okay.
What?
Well, but at some point he made it.
At some point he went in the house, but I didn't see him run in the door.
Okay.
I didn't see him open the door and run in the door. I just know that he was in the house because why else would the defendant be shooting in the house? I didn't see him go in the house.
Okay, I understand that, but and again, I'm just trying to be clear. You're doing fine. You said when you were running, well, strike that. You said Mr. Cameron ran in a different direction.
Yes. Miss Sean was at first at the vehicle, and then when the defendant started shooting, I want to say he ran towards the parking lot to leave out. The parking lot has a middle area where you drive down the middle and you go left or right in order to get to wherever you're going. He was running that way, and I believe he just maybe curved around. I didn't see him though, but he wasn't running directly towards my door like I was. I was running directly to the door. He was running around and then ended up at the door. That's the only way I could see it. But
Okay. Hold on a moment. Is there any way that we could probably get because I want to be clear on this, a aerial Google Earth type display? I mean, she's doing a fine job of describing it. I just can't visualize it in my head. So it's got to be my weakness.
Is there an easy way for me to put this on the screen, or is it?
Absolutely, there is. If you bring we're going to do it from the middle podium.
Okay. This HDMI right here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yep.
Is there a cord in there?
There is. Yep.
Ma'am, then what he has displayed will,
Okay.
well, oh, it looked like, okay, will appear up there. Actually, it will appear in front of you. Okay. Oh,
Oh, on display. Nice.
sweet.
Lewis Hamilton. There. Correct. Oh, wait, I know what I'm doing. There we go. Okay. So I've just so the record's clear, I punched in 93 Russell Court on Google Maps. And that red dot, is that more or less, Miss Richardson, where your apartment is in that apartment complex?
Yes.
Okay. And so what we've been discussing, the location of the defendant's vehicle and location of Mr. Cameron's vehicle, they're in those parking spots opposite that red dot. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And so when the shooting starts, you turn from that area between the two rows of parking lots. Now you're running towards the red dot. And I believe your testimony was that you believe that Mr. Cameron was heading kind of away towards that center, that road that splits the sets of apartments.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And so the last you knew, he was kind of, I guess it would be, he would have been running to your right. As you're going straight towards your apartment, he's kind of off behind you to your right. Okay. And so you're running to your apartment, you feel getting shot in the leg, you collapse on your front porch, and you see the defendant, his feet, you look up at the defendant while he has this rifle. Is he standing on your front porch?
Yes.
Okay. How many steps are there from the sidewalk up to this porch?
It's two, but it's a small step and then the main step.
Okay, so just like a 1-2 quick step onto a slightly elevated front porch.
Yes.
Okay. You don't know how Mr. Cameron got into your apartment, but he apparently was in your apartment. Is that fair to say? Okay. As the defendant is standing on your front porch holding this gun, what does the defendant do?
He's shooting
Where is he shooting?
in the house.
Okay.
It's in the house.
Did you have a front door open, close in this house, if you recall?
I have the safety door and then the main door, or the screen door and then the main wooden door.
Okay. Was the, do you know if the wooden door was open or closed?
It was, open.
Okay.
So it was just the,
Like screen door sort of
screen
thing?
door.
Okay. Did you ever see the defendant enter your apartment, or was he only shooting from the porch?
Only shooting from the porch.
Okay, but he was shooting from the porch into your apartment.
Yes.
Okay.
But and again, I'm sorry, but the porch is, I mean, there's a step, porch, house.
Right.
So he's like right on the porch, you're saying,
Right on the
shooting in,
porch. Yes,
shooting into the house.
yes.
What's in the front part of your house? I mean, like what rooms?
When you walk in, you're right in the living room.
Got it.
2 steps from the living room because it has small little flooring area in the front.
Got it.
But if you are standing on my porch, you can see right into my living room.
Okay. And is there a window in the front?
Yes.
Of some type, right?
Yes.
Is he shooting through that window or?
Well, the screen door, yes, he didn't open the door, just shot through the screen door, so the glass broke.
Okay.
So he didn't open the door to shoot inside, he just shot from the porch and the glass broke and continued to shoot in the house.
Do you know how many times he shot into the house?
No.
Okay. And I think you, and counsel, you may get to this, but I just want to make sure I'm clear on this. You said there were 2 people in the house,
Yes,
Patrick
and my daughter.
and your daughter. How old's your daughter?
9.
Do you know where they are at that moment?
I knew that my daughter was in her room at the time that I stepped outside.
And where is that in proximity to, say, the living room?
It's a small apartment, so it's like four steps to her.
Down a hallway.
Yeah,
And then
it's a
it-
small hallway, very small.
Okay. And where was Patrick?
At the time, before I stepped outside, he was sitting on the couch.
In the living room.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, counsel.
So if you were to walk into your apartment through that front door, you're basically in the living room.
Yes.
Does the living room kind of open up to your left or to your right as you walk in the apartment?
To my left.
Okay. And then if I keep walking straight, is the hallway then go off to the right? Is that how the layout goes?
If you walk straight, the hallway goes to the right, to the bathroom.
Okay. And then your daughter's bedroom is down that hallway to the right.
Yes, the bathroom is to the right. You walk up one more, her room is to the right as well.
Okay. So the defendant is on the front porch shooting the rifle through this kind of storm door, safety door. Do you hear glass breaking? Or you saw glass broken?
Saw glass.
Okay. Shooting through that door into the living room.
Yes.
Okay. At the time he's doing that, how close are his feet to the location of where you are collapsed on the porch?
Repeat that.
You're collapsed on the front porch. Is he to your left?
It's to my right.
He's to your right. Okay. How far away from you is the defendant when he's shooting into the living room?
My head is right by his feet.
So a foot or 2, are we talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, again, I'm sorry, but again, when you say you're collapsed on the porch, are you face down? So your right is,
I'm collapsed, and so my breast is on the cement, and I am looking to the right.
to the right. Okay, so I just wanted to figure out which was, okay, go ahead.
You don't know how many times he fired into the apartment, I believe is your testimony. Is that correct?
Right, I don't know.
Okay.
how many times.
At some point, he stopped shooting into the living room though, right?
Yes.
And then what happens?
He stops shooting and immediately, starts looking for the keys to leave.
Is he in your apartment?
No,
Okay. Is he still on the porch when he's looking for his keys to leave? Like, what, tell me.
after he stops shooting, he's telling the girlfriend to look for the keys. So they're looking in my front lawn, like my front porch of where I live.
So is the defendant thinks that the keys to his car are somewhere around the front porch of your,
I don't think they knew where they were.
okay. At some point, does the defendant get into a car and flee the scene?
Yes,
Okay. Did you see that happen, hear that happen, or tell me,
yes,
which one?
I seen and I heard.
Okay. The whole time, are you still on your front porch?
Ooh, I'm sorry. I go in, I see Sean on the ground. I grab my phone. I hop out of the window. The window is broke, so I go in, I grab my cell phone. I see my cousin, I go out the front,
And I'm going to just stop you real quick. The window that you're talking about, is that the window in the living room or the window in the storm door?
the storm door.
Okay, so you don't open the door, but you step through the storm door when,
Yeah,
okay,
I get my phone. I go back out of the door the same way I walked in. I don't know why, but, and then I called my uncle, they were gone, before I called my uncle. So I was.
When you say they were gone, who are you?
The names, the
That's
defendant and the
Okay.
girl that he was with.
That's fine.
at this point, they've taken off.
Yes,
Okay. You go in, you grab your phone, you call your uncle.
yes,
Okay. And at some point, did you call the police?
no,
Okay. Did someone else call police or do you know?
my daughter did.
Your daughter did? Okay. What can you tell me about Sean's condition as he is laying in your living room?
What was that?
Could you see any injuries on him?
I didn't look.
Okay. Was he talking, trying to talk to you, do anything at all? Okay. You go back. Do you then exit your apartment again?
Yes,
Okay. And at some point, do the police arrive?
yes.
About how long? Do you have any idea?
I called my uncle. I believe they were there within 5 minutes.
Okay. And did you get your daughter out or
No,
okay. Who got your daughter out of the apartment? No?
police officer.
Okay.
Where was she?
She was in her room. I don't know where she was in her room, but she was in her room.
And that's where she called the police from?
Yes. I was yelling outside to call the police, so I think when she heard me say that, she just did it.
Okay, all right. So you don't think she ever came out of her room,
I don't think so.
but you're not sure.
I'm not sure.
So the police show up. Do they start giving you medical care for your injuries?
Tourniquet on my leg.
Okay. And what is have you recovered from that gunshot wound in your leg?
I'm fully recoverable.
Physically?
Yes.
Okay. At any point in time, did you see Sean Cameron with anything in his hands? Any sort of weapon, anything like that?
He had a pair of shoes in his hand.
And when you saw him in your living room, he didn't have a gun in his hand or anything like that?
No.
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
You may.
I have no further questions for this.
All right, I just had one other thing. I'm just trying to figure out the location. Your daughter's, when you go in, your daughter's in her room. Do you know where Patrick is? You know, okay, that's fair. That's fine. All right.
You want me to leave this on? Do you care?
Oh, no,
Is it okay if I unhook?
I don't need it unless.
Yo, yeah, you can upload it. I just,
Your court's clear on that, right?
yes, I am.
I don't need it.
Okay.
Good morning, Ms. Richardson. You said,
And did you need a break? Or are you okay?
sorry,
That's one of my updates real quick.
Okay.
please take your time. Thank you, Judge. I wasn't clear. You said, Mr. Cameron, I think you described him as a friend and a relative, I believe you
Yes.
said. Can you expand on that? What do you mean by that?
We were raised together.
Okay,
With the same relatives.
okay, all right. And you also said that he doesn't live in that apartment complex, correct? He lives somewhere else?
Correct.
Okay. And would he frequent that area on a regular basis?
To visit me, yes.
Okay, is that the only reason?
No.
What other reasons would he be there?
I had a girlfriend.
Okay. And did she live in that apartment complex?
Yes.
Okay. Was it the girl that was the passenger in the car, or was it somebody else?
Somebody else.
Okay. Do you know if he had any relationship with the woman in the car, the passenger in the vehicle, the defendant's vehicle?
No relation.
Okay. Now, the girlfriend, did she live sorry, I shouldn't say girlfriend, that he had a lady friend. Was it his girlfriend or was it another kind of relationship?
A lady friend.
Okay,
Not an official.
okay.
situation.
And did you know that woman?
No.
Okay. Do you know if, did she live in that general area where you lived?
She lived in another section of the same apartment complex,
Okay. Close to yours or farther away, or
further away,
like how far approximately?
5-minute walk.
Okay. All right. And that day when Mr. Cameron was there, sorry, strike that. When Mr. Cameron first arrived, did you see him arrive, or did you know he was there when he called you out of the house?
I knew he was there. Well, I seen his vehicle outside.
Okay.
That's how I knew he was in the apartment complex.
Okay. When you saw his vehicle outside, was he in the vehicle or did you not see him in the vehicle?
I didn't see him in the vehicle.
Okay. And he was parked across from your apartment? Is that correct? Okay. When did you first see Mr. Cameron?
When he came in my front door.
Okay. Not when he called you outside first?
That's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The time he came and called me outside. That's when I seen him physically.
Okay. And he was on your porch when he called you outside, or was he?
He opened security door and asked me to come outside.
Okay. And did he specify why or just say come outside?
No, he just said come outside.
And you did, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And did you hear before you said come outside, did you hear his voice outside talking to anybody or arguing with anybody or no?
Did not hear any argument.
Okay. Did you witness the argument between Mr. Cameron and my client, Mr. Pickett?
Yes, came to the parking lot.
Okay. So when you came out, you said he came to your door to have you come outside. When you came outside, was he still at your door or was he somewhere else?
He was already back at the defendant's or the girlfriend's vehicle.
Okay. And you say back at the vehicle. So this appeared to be an argument that had been going on for a minute before you came out?
Yes.
Okay. And did you hear the substance of the argument or what it was about?
Bits and pieces, yes.
Okay. Can you, without specifying the word, did you get you said it was, first of all, you described it as,
I feel like the tone of the argument was more so, he was feeling like somebody was lying to him.
okay.
And the tone was more so like I needed to be the one to verify the lie. That was the tone.
Okay. And when you say he was being lied to, you mean Mr. Cameron, is that correct?
whatever Sean and the defendant was talking about, he felt like he was being lied to.
Right, I'm just specifying the person. You're talking about Sean felt like he was being lied to, not not Mr. Pickett. Okay,
Sean.
thank you. Okay. Do you know what about or no? Okay. Now, when this, could you describe Mr. Cameron size? How tall is he?
He is 5'8", 5'9", maybe 200 pounds.
Okay. All right. And how old was he?
37.
Okay. All right. And when this argument's occurring, I'm assuming he's standing at the driver window arguing with
He's
the,
standing at the door. The door is open, the defendant's driver's door is open.
okay,
And he's standing at the end of that door,
okay. And where's my client at the time?
sitting down in the driver's seat.
Okay. And Mr. Cameron's standing over him, correct?
Right.
Okay. Now, you said you knew my client from the area, he lived in the area?
My neighbor
And where did he live in relation to you?
stayed across the parking lot,
Okay, so straight across, a little farther down, or,
straight across to the right.
okay. And how long had he been your neighbor, if you know?
I moved there in October, so we had only been neighbors for 7 months, 7 to 8 months.
Okay. Were you friendly neighbors?
We didn't speak.
You didn't speak, you just knew who he was because he lived there?
Yes,
Have you ever spoken to him before that day?
yes.
Okay, just to say hi or be friendly, that kind of thing?
No, he approached me and asked me to use my phone.
Okay. Was he pleasant about it?
Yes.
When did that happen?
Before the shooting, so I want to say 2-3 weeks before.
Okay. All right. And did you let him use your phone?
Yes.
Okay. Is that the only interaction you've had with my client?
I've seen him outside while I was sitting in my car,
Okay.
and he introduced himself. And I said hello, and he said hello, and that was all.
Okay. Was he pleasant enough neighbor to you? Do you have any problems with him or no? Or not? Okay. Now, do you know if Mr. Cameron and my client ever reacted or ever interacted with each other?
That's the first time I've seen him interact.
Okay. Now, you testify that you said that you didn't see gunshots, you heard them. Is that correct?
I seen the gun in his hand, and I heard the gunshot
Okay. All right. Where did you first hear shots fired?
when my cousin was when Sean was at the door, the passenger side of his door.
Okay. So you heard shots fired when my client was still seated in his vehicle?
He was not seated.
Okay. So he had exited the vehicle at some point?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see him exit the vehicle?
When somebody is sitting down in their driver's seat and they stand up, that's what I've seen.
You saw him get from
I've
this?
seen him get out of the driver's seat and stand up.
Okay. Did you see him when he did that? Did you see him with a weapon or no?
Yes.
Okay. And you described it as a rifle, I believe. I think you call it an 8.
Yes.
Okay. And at that point, that's when Mr. Cameron went toward your apartment?
I didn't see him run towards my apartment because I was running.
Okay. So your back was to the scene at that point?
Yes, I instantly turned and started running
Okay. Toward your,
my apartment.
and there was, at this time, when you started running to your apartment, there was no interaction between you and my client, correct? There was no words spoken or anything like that? Okay. And up till that point, you had no issue with him whatsoever?
No.
Okay. Now, you said at some point somebody called the police. I think you said your daughter called the police. Is that correct? You found out later that your daughter
Yes.
called the police? Okay. And you said she called or you called your uncle, I believe you just. Who's your uncle?
Roger Brown.
Is that a police officer or
That's my,
who's Roger Brown?
My uncle.
I know, is he affiliated with the police? That's my question. Oh, okay. Did he come to the scene? Your uncle?
He was on the scene.
Oh.
He was unable to pull up to my door because the police were there before he showed up.
Okay. And did you, backing up a little bit, did you, you said that Mr. Cameron thought he was being lied to. Do you know what specifically he was being lied to about, if you know? Okay. Have you ever known Mr. Cameron to carry a weapon?
No.
Nothing further.
Any redirect?
Not based on that, Your Honor.
All right. Kevin, thank you. You may step down. Court wanted to take a look at some things based upon the testimonies of Ms. Richardson regarding count 2. Court does believe that the intent of the defendant, or at least the circumstances of the testimony in case, indicate that the intent was to indeed kill and murder the decedent, in this case, Mr. Cameron. The court also believes that it may become a question of fact as to the intent, but that transferred intent of the assault with the intent to murder would apply to Miss Richardson, and the firing of that weapon in that direction based upon her testimony as she is headed toward the front door. What factually I would say is, it's not problematic, but may just be Miss Richardson's the entirety of Miss Richardson's recall. There is one way in and out of that unit, as testified to, and that Mr. Cameron headed toward that front door, which the court believes is where Miss Richardson was shot and went down, and then the defendant at some point was inside, particularly given the ejection of the cartridges indicates that he was inside, facing different directions, although there can be some ricochet. The 4 cartridges in the 3 in the living room and the 1 in the entryway and then 3 in the kitchen indicates that the defendant was present in various parts of the front part of that unit. Given all of that, the court does believe that the people have indeed sustained their burden, showing each and every element of the offenses as charged. There is, however, the court is going to add an additional charge, and I will add it in this way, where it may reduce the penalty, but the discharge of a firearm at a dwelling. Believe that the testimony from Ms. Richardson reveals that that firearm was fired outside toward that dwelling, that this dwelling was occupied, that she, while not in the unit, was in close enough proximity to be a person injured, which would make it a 15-year offense. But ultimately, the firing resulted in a death, and the court believes that it would be proper to add actually an additional life offense of the intentional firearm, the additional charge of intentionally firing at a dwelling that is occupied or reasonably should be known, or potentially occupied, I should say, as the statute reads, that resulted in the death of Mr. Cameron. So for those reasons, the court will add a count 7 of that charge, that being under section 750-234B, as well as an additional count of felony firearm with the predicate offense being the intentionally firing a weapon or discharging a weapon at a dwelling. So the people having sustained a burden defendant is bound over to circuit court on all now 8 counts.
I will have an amended information prepared consistent with this court's finding.
Burgess.
Your Honor, I would waive any further reading based on the court's additional charges and charges, even though I know the filed amended information, Your Honor. We're prepared to proceed with the agreement. Would waive any further reading, stand mute.
Defendant having waived formal reading, standing mute to all 8 counts. Court will enter not guilty plea. Pretrial in this matter will be set for
January 23rd at 1:30 before Judge Slate Thursday.
January 23rd, 2025, 1:30. And that's a Slay Thursday, which is just going to be Slay. Before Judge Slay.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Bond will continue. As denied. Thank you.